My name is Jessica Caloza. I'm proud to serve as the first Filipina American Commissioner on the Board of Public Works. And thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful day in Los Angeles. We're here today to launch LA for All, which is a creative-led campaign to put our values forward for not just ourselves, but for our community, and to stand up against hate. And I've been so proud of this work that we've embarked on under the leadership of Mayor Eric Garcetti, Councilmember John Lee, Councilmember Nithya Rahman, Councilmember Mark Ridley-Thomas, and so many amazing city leaders that have come to the table to say that everybody has a role to play in making sure that we don't have hate in our beautiful city. And so today is really our big unveiling to show you what we've been working on for the last few weeks, which, as you can see, is about inclusion, belonging, and community. More than that, one of the things that I'm most proud of for this campaign is that this campaign is inclusive of all communities, regardless of whether or not you speak another language. So somebody who speaks another language other than English, my first language is actually Filipino. This is something that's accessible for people in our most vulnerable communities that we're translating in over 12 languages, which is amazing. And before I start introducing our set of speakers, I do want to give a big shout out to our amazing team at Public Works for stepping up. If you take a look behind you, we have our LA sanitation trash trucks out there, because this PSA campaign is not just going to be digital, but it's going to be physical. And you'll see it on our city assets like our trash trucks. Thank you to Tracy, Bob Potter, to Pam, to, of course, our general manager, Enrique, as well as our bus shelters and bus benches. So big thanks, of course, to our general manager, Adel Haj Khalil, and his entire team, and to Gary Lee Moore, our city engineer, as well, for all their support. I also want to thank, for the in-language component, some of our key partners, which is City Librarian John Zabo, who has an amazing team at the libraries, and he has so many incredible bilingual librarians who have been helping us translate these materials so that all communities have access to them. And lastly, I want to also thank LAPD and our incredible partnership through our work on the anti-AAPI hate working group, which I'm proud to chair. And this is really one of the main things that we've been tasked to do by the mayor, by city council, is to put out this campaign about spreading love, spreading joy, spreading inclusion and belonging. And so with that, I'm proud to introduce our first speaker, Councilmember John Lee, and also one of my co-chairs on the Asian Pacific American Heritage Month Committee. Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Commissioner Caloza, and thank you to all the departments, my fellow council members, all the artists that have been part of this campaign. You know, I'm really proud to be a supporter of the LA for All campaign. You know, especially, it has special significance announcing it during Asian Pacific American Heritage Month in light of all the unprecedented attacks against the AAPI community. But it's important to state that this isn't just about a campaign to stomp out hate against the AAPI community. It's about stomping out hate of any kind towards any group here in the city of Los Angeles, and showing that what makes Los Angeles so great is our diversity. You know, I was born here in the United States, born to two immigrants from South Korea, and they instilled a love for this country in me. And they also instilled a love for my Korean heritage. And my love for my Korean heritage in no way diminishes my love for this country, nor does it make me, any less American. And I think that's a positive message that we are sending out to all people about inclusion of all of our communities in the city of Los Angeles that makes us so great. Being a true American doesn't mean that we erase our cultures or our histories or our things that that our parents bring here, or even that we brought here. It's about embracing those things and showing why it's so important to show that incredible uniqueness to all of us. But today, it's more than just about rejecting hate. It's about moving towards that powerful message of being together as one city, and not being a city that's characterized by fear, hate, or ignorance, but really being a city that will always be somewhere that welcomes everyone from every part of this world. So thank you very much, Commissioner. Thank you for letting me speak today.
Thank you, Councilmember Lee, for your incredible support of LA for All and for everything that you're doing for the AAPI community. Next, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Councilmember Nithya Rahman, also a huge supporter of this campaign and also one of the co-chairs for Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Councilmember Ramen.
Thank you so much, Jessica, and thank you to my fellow council members for their support of this effort and for this whole month. Los Angeles has a reputation, and something I've experienced personally, for being a place that welcomes people with open arms. And in the course of this past year, we've really been forced to confront how that reputation may fall short. With the staggering rise in hate crimes, not just against the AAPI community, but against the Jewish community, and so many of the communities that call this city home. As we come out of this year of loss and isolation, I think all of us are rightly focused on rebuilding our economy, but I think in this year of staying home, of being alone, I think we also need to come out and build our communities with one another and build our love with each other. The LA for All campaign provides practical knowledge and tools to stand up against incidents of hate and violence, but it also harnesses beauty, it harnesses art, and it harnesses our public spaces to say that this is a city that is anchored in love, and I am so, so proud to be a part of it. By bringing all of this beautiful artwork into our physical and digital spaces, I think we really empower the ability of this city to tell that story of love, belonging, and togetherness. So thank you to all of you for being here, and thank you to all of my partners in this effort. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Ramen, for all your support and leadership, not just today, but really throughout your entire time in City Council so far. Our next speaker I'd like to introduce is Councilmember Mark Ridley-Thomas. Thank you for your incredible support, Councilmember, and bring you to the stage.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Commissioner and fellow council members. Lee and Ramen, delighted to be here. LA is for all, and it seems to me that we need to recognize that words have power. The language and the rhetoric of hate is to be confronted at every turn. And while words have power, art can be more powerful. Therefore, we celebrate LA for all. It is precisely this sort of collaboration that is required if we are to be serious about putting a stop to the meanness that hate represents and how it dehumanizes everyone who touches it on both ends of that spectrum. We've seen enough of it, and I believe we have to face it to erase it. And therefore, the work that's being done by the Civil and Human Rights and Equity Department is important. Shout out to Capri Maddox and the whole team, to the Board of Public Works, who's leaning in with vehicles and more, to the Police Department that will represent all of the departments, Library, Arts Department, Cultural Affairs, that is, everybody has a role to play. We acknowledge the leadership of the mayor of the city of Los Angeles for his leaning in. It seems to me that if we are indeed serious about the quality of life, if we want to expand the parameters of democracy, we have to say that everyone, irrespective of their origin, their orientation, their politics, who they love and why they love them, deserves to be respected. And to the extent that that is the case, I would wish to lend my voice to say, LA for all, the arts matter. Let's celebrate it in good cheer. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember, for all your support. And next, I'm so excited to introduce our next speaker. LA Civil Rights, as you've seen and heard, has been at the heart of this campaign. And if it were not for them, this campaign wouldn't be possible. This is exactly the reason why they were started, is to make sure that we stomp out hate in our city. And I'm so proud to have partnered with General Manager Capri Maddox in the last few weeks to get this done in a record amount of time. And before I introduce Capri, I do want to give a big thank you to Mark Pampanen, who has done a tremendous job leading this entire effort. And so with that, Capri.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Caloza. I really appreciate your fierce leadership to get things done. It takes a village to get things done, and I have a number of folks that I need to be thanked for being a part of the best of Los Angeles. Definitely want to thank our council members, even as they may have to be released to go to the council meeting. Council members Ridley-Thomas, Council Member Nithya Rahman, Councilmember John Lee. We are so grateful for your leadership in this space, for spearheading this effort, and definitely wanted to thank and celebrate the support of Mayor Eric Garcetti. I think it's very important to acknowledge our wonderful artists that are here that really shaped this campaign. As you see the beautiful artwork behind us, we are so grateful for their work and their effort to help us deal with this hate that we've been facing here in Los Angeles. We'd like to also thank Mark Pampanen from our staff that led this effort. We are super grateful for his leadership and all of Team Civil Rights that is here in the House. And of course, our commissioners that are part of the Civil Rights family. We have a few of them here as well. And finally, I'd like to thank our general managers, but especially our library general manager, as well as Department of Cultural Affairs, and definitely to thank our Public Works family for showing up with the assets to flood the streets. You guys clean Los Angeles, clean the streets, but you make sure that we're flooding the streets with love, and we just can't thank you enough. I just wanted to say this has been a difficult time for Los Angeles. As an African American, I know what it feels like to be othered. And I know what it feels like when people show up for you. And that is what we've seen. We've seen this campaign launch during Asian Pacific Heritage Month. However, this is a campaign that is for all of Los Angeles. We are here to be very intentional that everyone belongs. And then we have the Art of Belonging campaign that is focused primarily to support our API community as they deal with this record level of hate here in Los Angeles. I think it's important to know that in this last 5 years, hate crimes and hate incidents have gone up 55%, even here in Los Angeles, the city of angels. And we are better than that. But it's civil rights. We want to be very clear that love will outmatch any hate. And then we also know that hate doesn't rest. So this is not something that we're just doing for 1 month or 2 months. As long as there's hate in Los Angeles and growing all over the world, we are going to be here to fight this hate. So this is the first time the city of Los Angeles has ever launched a multilingual campaign against hate. Since 1781, this is the first time this has happened. It will be available in 12 languages. It will appear on libraries, bus benches, sanitation trucks, as we can see here, street banners, and in every neighborhood in our city. And we also will be in all the terminals at LAX. And I want to put a call out to action. If you have space and you would like to get these assets reproduced and use them on your facilities, let us know, and maybe we can figure this out. I know that UCLA, for example, has reached out to offer the opportunity to place these assets on their campuses to support their students. So with this campaign, we are sharing assets and resources with our community. We want to be very clear that if you are a victim of hate or discrimination, you can call 911 if there is a crime in process, and I definitely want to thank our LAPD partners for their assistance. You can also call 211 to report a hate crime or hate incident, and you should know that as of now, in this past week, thanks to the work that Jamana from our office has been doing, 311 is now taking calls for victims of hate and hate crimes and hate incidents. You can report anonymously. You can report in a number of languages. You can get culturally competent care. And I think it's really important that when you report, we can stop this tide of hate. For the LA for All campaign, it's more than a campaign. It is a call to action. And it asks all of us to stand up for Los Angeles values of belonging, inclusion, and to stand up for each other. So LA Civil Rights is honored to lead this campaign and to launch the city's online resource to deal with hate. You can find that at civilandhumanrights.lacity.org/LA for all. We have hosted a number of events, virtual and in-person events, to stop hate, that they've reached thousands of people, including the Know Your Rights and bystander training that's happening to support our AAPI community here in Los Angeles. And we have one training that's coming up in June. There's much work to be done, and we know that hate is on the rise with every corner. But with LA for All, we are rising as well. We are standing up for Los Angeles, the values of love, belonging, and inclusion. And we are making it known that LA there's no place for hate in Los Angeles. I want to be clear and get that right. There is no place for hate in Los Angeles. Thank you. I turn it over to Commissioner Caloza.
Thank you so much, Capri, for your leadership and for getting everybody excited about all the new resources available as part of this campaign. As you heard, this is not just about denouncing hate and standing up for our values. It's also about making sure the resources are available and there. And so one of the things that I'll just quickly point out before I introduce our next speaker is that these assets will be, as was mentioned, all over the city, on our infrastructure and on different assets that we own. There's also a QR code attached. So if you just scan that on your phone, it'll take you to the LA Civil Rights website with all the resources that Capri just mentioned. And so it's really about making it as easy as possible for our most vulnerable communities to know how to get help.